signed on?
You see her name. Can you hear us, Donnell?
I don't see her yet.
Let's see.
It's interesting. I see two identifiers for Chuck. His
I
name
do
and his
too.
photo. Don't understand that.
Hope I'm not stealing anybody's spot.
I
gonna
don't think
remove-
so.
The id and the ego.
Okay, I removed that one. It's because you have
Okay.
2 email addresses that I send it to.
It didn't come to my personal email address. I had to forward the other one to it to be on, because like I said, I have to use my personal computer with the camera.
Oh, you know what? We had a problem with the emails with everybody getting their invites this time. I'm not sure what happened.
It all worked out for me anyway. Just got to get done now.
Looks like she's coming on twice too.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Okay, let's call the meeting to order at 7:02 p.m. on 8 June 2020. Marcy, would you please read the statement?
Yes. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided to the public and the press on January 7th, 2020, and was posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-7.
Okay, thank you. Could you give us the roll call, please?
Sure. Vice President Orberger?
Here.
Councilmember Murphy?
Here.
Councilmember Van Tassel? Councilmember Weller?
Here.
Council President Shortway?
Present. If we could all rise and salute the flag, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Mayor, would you be kind enough to read the proclamation for Sussex County Pride, please?
Thank you. Thank you. I had to unmute myself. Proclamation, Sussex County Pride. Whereas the Township of Vernon has a diverse LGBTQ plus community and is committed to supporting visibility, dignity, and equality for all people in the community. And whereas many of the residents, the visitors, and business owners within the Township of Vernon who contribute to the enrichment of our community are part of the LGBTQ plus community. And whereas June has become a symbolic month in which this community and its supporters come together in various celebrations of pride and to commemorate the 1969 Stonewall riots. And whereas events are held annually to recognize and to celebrate the diversity of the community, and whereas by protecting the rights of every individual, we enhance the value of our entire society. Now, therefore, the mayor and the council do hereby proclaim June 2020 as Pride Month in the beautiful town of Vernon Township.
Thank you very much, Mayor.
Thank you, council.
Can I just let you know that I did receive a chat from Zoe Heath,
Zoe. Yeah.
the executive director of the Sussex County Pride, thanking us for having the proclamation on the agenda.
Let Zoe know she's welcome.
You're welcome.
So let's go to public comments for current agenda items only, limited to 3 minutes per person. Marcy, when you recognize them, they'll have them state their names and where they're from. Can I have a motion to open the floor to public comments?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed? Seeing none, Marcy, please recognize anyone should they wish to speak.
Yes, I have a person named Wing. Wing, can you unmute, please?
Hi, hello.
Yes.
I'm here.
I don't know what. Hello? Okay.
Looked like he unmuted, but then muted himself again.
Yeah. Did you want to speak, Wing?
He needs to unmute
I'm
himself.
curious if
Yes.
that is the owner of
There you go.
Wings, maybe?
Can you hear me?
Hi,
Yes.
we can hear you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Wing. I'm from Wings Asian Restaurant from Vernon. Happy to see you guys meeting here. And I really feel that it's a very good plan and project for this town. And in future will really help and support my business. So I fully support this plan. And thank you. Did you hear it?
Yeah, did anybody understand I'm sorry, Mr. President, I couldn't understand exactly. He made a statement about something that was good for the town.
project.
Just so you're aware, I've lost, my server keeps going down, so I lost whatever was said. John, if that happens again, just take the bull by the horns till I can get back on, okay?
I think he said he supports a project. I didn't hear what project.
Yeah, I didn't hear what project either. I did hear that he supports it, but I didn't get the project.
Mr. Wing, I'm sorry, can you repeat what you said to us? We were having a little bit of trouble with the computers.
I'm using my cell phone. I don't think it's a good signal or something. I just hear then the plan, the bike good trick is very nice plan and going to help this town a lot and also my business too.
It sounds to me our council person Shortway and Marcia, he said something about a bicycle track.
The bike track. Mhm.
That bike track.
That actually would be at the end of the meeting, right? We don't have anything on the agenda about that, but we have his comments on registered and he's made them. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
So-
sir.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we have next Bruce Zaretsky.
Yes, I just want to caution everybody, these have to be on agenda items only. And the public's free to say what anything, they want to address at the end of the regular meeting.
Okay, I think what I have to say probably should be at the end of the meeting,
All right, thank you,
not
Mr.
on the agenda.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Tom McClackery.
Okay, there you go. Whenever I get on this thing, I think I'm on the Brady Bunch. Okay, so my comment concerns the
You see that?
12 million in 12 million in tax and anticipation notes. And I don't have the agenda, so I can't tell you. It's the last item on your resolutions. And I read the blurb on that, and it doesn't state exactly what it's for. I'm assuming, and I hate to do it, but I'm assuming that it's for liquidity, that you don't have the money. But that represents like just about a whole quarter of property taxes that you're putting out there, unless it's for something else. I mean, if it's just for liquidity and you need an advance, then it's basically a payday loan. And having said that, I don't understand how you can give out pay raises, borrow money, and do a whole bunch of other actions if you can't figure out how to handle your finances so they're current. Because if you don't do that, you're just digging a hole that's just going to get deeper and deeper. And in that, in the resolution itself, you don't even put a limit on how much interest that you're going to be paying for this $12 million. And, you know, it's short term, sure, but it's also beneficial to whoever borrows the money because it's tax free. And it's not tax free to the taxpayer because they got to ante up that interest. And that's the problem with taking out these tax anticipation notes. And that's my whole spiel. Adios and goodbye.
Tom, I'm going to make it a little bit of an exception here. We usually just take the comments, but if Danelle, if you would be so kind enough to explain the bans for Mr. McClackery and anybody else that's listening to us, I'd greatly appreciate it.
Sure. Hello, everyone. So the TANs resolution are for tax anticipation notes. Like Mr. McClackery had said, that's obviously not a good thing to have usually. If we were in a normal year, I would never ask for something like this. But they have advised us for the past couple months to go ahead and pass a TANs resolution just in case we do have a cash flow shortfall, shortage really, come August because of the mortgages being pushed out for up to 6 months. So the concern there is that if people's mortgages are not being paid, they may not be paying property taxes. That doesn't necessarily mean they are not paying property taxes. The banks have been asking people that are filling out paperwork to extend their mortgages for those 3 to 6 months. They've been asking them to please pay the property taxes because there's nothing in effect right now that removes interest and penalties for people that are paying late. So taxes are still due August 1st. We're still doing the estimated tax bills that were approved at the last meeting. And this is like a fail-safe. If, you know, God forbid something happens and we don't see the cash flow, we do have the ability to take out TANs. It is in the resolution that has the max amount that we're able to take. We're taking a portion of that, or we're authorized to take up to a portion of that that's in the resolution. The other thing I can say is, you know, we're hopefully passing this TANs resolution. However, there is something right now at the state level in the State House that's already been approved at one level. They're COVID-19 bonds and notes. Hopefully that gets approved. I got notice on Friday that that's going to be going to the next level for vote on the 11th. But we had already put through this TANs resolution, and I'd rather not wait on the state. I'd rather have, you know, a backup plan just in case that doesn't go through. So that's it. That's a lot of information, but hopefully that kind of explains it a little bit better.
Thank you, Danelle. I greatly appreciate it.
Harry, just so you
Yeah.
know, I will have questions on it. I could do it either now or later. I can wait.
Let's do it later. I just felt Mr. McClackery raised some excellent points, and some of the other people on the floor that's part of this meeting would like the explanation. So, but you can ask again, Gene. Let's just wait till we get further down into it, okay? Marcy, anyone else?
I do not see anybody else wishing to speak right now.
Okay, just give it a minute in case.
Okay. Yep.
No one else?
Nope, I don't see anybody else.
Okay.
Vice President.
May I have a motion? May I have a motion to close the floor to public comments?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Seeing no one, let's move on. Consent agenda. Resolution 20-131, refund and overpayment, block 451, lot 45. Resolution 20-132, another refund overpayment, block 526, lot 368. Resolution number 20-133, another refund overpayment, block 379, lot 30. Resolution 20-136, authorizing the use of public rights-of-way by Planet Networks Incorporated. Resolution number 20-137, resolution of the Township of Vernon, County of Sussex, State of New Jersey, authorizing the increase to the bid threshold. Resolution 20-138, resolution extension award for 2 years to Campbell Supply Company Incorporated for fire apparatus and ambulance repair bid. Resolution number 20-139, resolution authorizing the issuance of notes exceeding not to exceed 12 million, that is not to exceed 12 million, tax anticipation notes of 2020 of the Township of Vernon in the County of Sussex, New Jersey. May I have a motion for the consent agenda?
I'm
May
sorry.
I ask for 20?
Point of order.
Okay,
Council
go ahead.
President,
There were two that were left out.
What are those two?
20-134 and 20-135.
Okay, can you read those, please?
Sure. Resolution 20-134, resolution of the Township of Vernon, County of Sussex, State of New Jersey, authorizing the qualified purchasing agent to receive certain bids in accordance with NJAC 5:34-5.1 E procurement. Resolution 20-135, refund overpayment due to state court judgment, Mardak LLC, Block 526, Lot 233.
Okay, thank you. Problems with my printer getting everything printed tonight. So let's have a motion for consent. Or first of all, John, you want to pull one, you said?
Yes, I would like to pull 20-138.
And I have a question on 20-139.
All right, so 128 we're pulling,
38.
38
38.
and 39?
Yeah.
Okay, how about the rest? Do we have a motion to adopt the other ones?
Motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
A roll call, please?
Sure. Vice President Auberger,
Yes.
Councilmember Murphy,
Yes.
Councilmember Weller,
Yes.
Council President Shortway.
Yes. Okay, let's go to resolution 20-138. John, you want to open it up, please?
Oh, I don't have any questions. I needed that separated out because I have to abstain.
Okay. Can we have a roll call on that, please?
Sure. Vice President Auberger,
I'm sorry, don't you have to have a motion for that first and second?
Yeah, can we have motion?
Motion.
Second? I'll second it. Roll call?
sure. Vice President Auberger,
Abstain.
Councilmember Murphy,
Yes.
Councilmember Weller,
Yes.
Vice President Shortway.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
Okay, let's go to resolution 20-139. Jean, could you lead it, please? You had some questions.
Yes. So the 12 million, so we're just doing that just in case. So that's just in case no taxes come in. So we will not be, if I'm understanding it correctly, it'll only be taken out and only an amount that's needed.
Yes, correct. So I have cash flow reports that I go through comparing to last year and what the upcoming school will be. So I based it based upon what the school I'm looking for August and September, as well as the county that's obviously due in August. I want to make sure that those would at least be covered. And like I said, these are only going to be taken out if I don't have the revenue that's coming in.
Right. But
If I'm looking at my cash flow and I don't see that I have enough cash flow to be able to carry us, then I would take those out.
what would the total revenue be?
I would have to go back because it includes, I'd have to go back and look at my total cash flow. Last year, in August, we dispersed just over 13 million in August between the school, our regular bills, and the county payments. you know, we have regular bills that we have to pay, like our insurance and payrolls and stuff like that. So that was just in August. September, we were looking at, around 10 million. Now you have to remember we get cash every month, right? So it's not just, this is just enough to carry us really, like I said, for the county taxes and for school.
Right. But is it based on not collecting any taxes in the third quarter?
No, it's based on collecting a portion of those taxes.
Okay.
And again, if we needed additional money, I didn't want to authorize the full amount because I don't think that's necessary. It's just a portion of what we can go up to.
Well, 12 million is a lot.
12 million is a lot. You're 100% correct. But if we needed that, you know, that's this past month, just in taxes alone, we brought in over 11 million.
Okay. Do you know what the tax collection rate was for the second quarter?
For the second quarter, I would have to check with the tax collector because we're not really done with the second quarter because we collect through June too.
All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone else have any other questions? Can I have a motion to adopt that resolution?
Motion.
Is there a second for 20-139?
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Sure. Vice President Auberger,
Yes.
Councilmember Murphy,
Yes.
Councilmember Weller,
Yes.
Council President Shortway.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, let's move on to the introduction, first reading of a proposed ordinance. This is ordinance 20-13, an ordinance amending and supplementing the salary ordinance for non-union employees. May I have a motion to introduce this ordinance?
Motion.
Is there a
Second.
second? Okay. Roll call?
Vice President Auberger,
Yes.
Councilmember Murphy,
Yes.
Councilmember Weller,
Yes.
Vice President Shortway. I'm sorry, Council President Shortway.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, let's move on to number 9 on the agenda, public comments, limited to 3 minutes on any topic. May I have a motion to open the floor to the public?
Motion.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Seeing no one is opposed, the floor is open. Marcy, please recognize anyone who wishes to speak.
Yes. This is Bruce Zaretsky.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, Bruce, good evening.
Good evening, everyone. I'm glad to see everyone. I haven't seen everyone in a long time. And it's a difficult time we're all living in. And my comment has to do with the bicycle pump track and the walking path. And I know that everybody is in a survival mode today, and everybody's looking how we get by today and pretty much living in the moment. But I think it's a project that's been on the books in town for a long time. And I would just want to say that I hope the council doesn't lose track of this idea, because it's something that the community really needs. I think it will engender community spirit. It is an outdoor activity that everybody really wants. I go back in my mind to the Maple Grange Park and how much resistance there was to that park and how long the fight went on to whether to build it or not. And I don't think there's anybody in town today that would trade that park for the money that it cost, because it is amenity that really enhances Vernon Township. And I think the same thing will happen with the pump track and the bike path. I think the community, I think the only thing that would have to say after it's built is, why did we wait so long? I think it'll engender, again, community spirit. And I just want to voice my I hope that we do this project as soon as possible. Thank you for your time.
No. All right, there we go.
Thank you, Mr. Turetsky. Marcy, is there anyone else that wishes to speak?
Yes, I have Martin O'Donnell. Mr. O'Donnell?
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Hi,
Yes.
Mr. O'Donnell.
I just wanted to come on. I was listening to a couple of the council meetings a couple days ago, ones that I had missed over the past month or so, and I know it came to your attention that there was some possible Robert's Rules type infractions and things of that nature. You know, the person was most likely right who brought it up, but it seemed to me more of a headhunting expedition than anything else. So I'm going to put a sequel on that, and I want to urge the board to adopt a resolution requiring all board members, okay, and all committees members to participate in an online class that the town should pay for, okay, on these types of things, whether it's Robert's Rules or a couple other things or what have you, okay? And in doing this, all of our people will be trained on this, and in addition, it will limit our town's liability, just like it limits a corporation's liability when their employees are properly trained. This type of stuff has been going on since I was a council person in 1998. All right, and it's always an issue. So we can really head it off at the pass here with new things like emails and things like that that people are dealing with now, to really put it into perspective what is required and what is allowed and what is not allowed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. O'Donnell.
I have Sandra Ohms.
Oh, I had to unmute myself. Can you hear me?
Yes, good evening, Ms. Ohms.
Yes, good evening to all of you. Just two things. Speaking of the bike path, I know you eventually closed on the property across from Maple Grange Park, and we do have money, the money set aside for open space to develop trails. Why are we not starting there? I mean, we took us 4 years to buy that property. I would think you'd be anxious to start developing that area. We have the property. We've paid for it already. Apparently, we got the grant money for that. Am I correct? Hello?
Yes, there was open space money received. I don't know.
Okay.
We were promised it. I don't know if it ever came in.
Okay.
It came in after I was left being mayor.
Okay. And we have the money to the side. So why isn't that being developed? We have parking there at Maple Grange to take your bikes across the street and ride that trail and possibly connect to Warwick. So I would think that would be the first thing on your agenda with building this bike path. So that's my first comment. My second comment was there was a gathering in what we call the town center on, I believe it was Saturday or Sunday. I think it would have been great if you posted that on the police Facebook or made mention on the town website. So that was a very little detail that could have helped out a lot of people that may have wanted to avoid that area or may have wanted to participate. So I don't know why that wasn't brought forward. When you had the dog protests, you had that on the Facebook, and you had, I believe that was even on the town website. So I think that was an oversight, and I would really urge you, next time there's any events in this town, it should be posted on the police Facebook or the website. And that ends my comments. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Ohms.
I have Adam Palladini. Hello?
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, Mr. Palladini. Good
Yes.
Good evening, Council and Mayor. I just wanted to jump on tonight to voice my support for the pump track. I understand there is quite a bit of money put aside for recreation and open space. I've been to the Port Jervis pump track several times, and I can just imagine what it does for their community, and I'd like to see the same happen for our community. I see kids of all ages there. I see people there that are probably pushing 60 riding a bike, and it's a beautiful thing. So I know there'll be a lot of support if you know, you pull the town. I know there's a lot of people that travel to the Port Jervis pump track, and I think it would be an amenity that would fit into Vernon perfectly. You know, every kid in our 68 square miles hops on their bike daily. And I'd really like to see it on the agenda for our next meeting. Again, I can't stress how much I think it would be a great amenity for the town, and I hope that I hope that we could put our political differences aside, or whatever obstacles may be in the way of such an amenity. And I'd love to see it pushed through, and like I said, put on the agenda for the next meeting. Thanks a lot. Have a good evening, guys.
Thank you, Mr. Palladini.
I have Dan Kraus. Mr. Kraus?
Hey, everybody. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Kraus.
Wanted to thank everybody for all their strong support over the recent months during these very uncertain times. All of you deserve a round of applause. It has not been easy. Thank you for hearing me out here for the next few minutes. I wanted to bring up again the bicycle pump track, the community pump track here in Vernon. Wanted to resonate a lot with both Bruce and Adam have just recently said in regards to how this recreational amenity will enhance our township. I'm very passionate about this, and I think now more than ever, the support that we will get both physically and mentally from such an amenity will help many. With a lot of kids, you know, being displaced from their daycares or schools or their friends, this is our chance to build something that are going to help a lot of families kind of cope with a lot of this uncertainty that we all face together. I'd also like to say that we are poised in a very strategic situation where Vernon Township is being viewed as a safe haven from a lot of this corona stress. So you're looking at families coming from further down south, even in from the city, looking to buy homes here at possibly a premium. As I've talked to other realtors, we're looking for inventory, and this is something that can be quite of attraction for realtors and others alike to start spreading that news, to start bringing in that rate base, to start bringing families, filling the schools, supporting local businesses. So really super excited to get some traction on this. I think the local business component is also going to play a big part. Local restaurants and anybody else that's here, whether you're a hardware store, plumbing and heating, you name it, I think everybody can benefit from this because full houses mean you're spending money, and hopefully you're spending that money local. So there is a chain reaction of very positive things that can come out of this. I am formally requesting that the pump track be included in the very next agenda for that meeting so that we can define next steps to prevent any further delays in this very positive conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Appreciate it.
Let's see. I have Peg DeStassi.
Okay.
Ms. DeStassi.
Hi, how are you?
Hi.
Good evening, Peg.
Everybody. Hope everybody's well. I just wanted to say that I'm in support of the pump track. I'm also in support of Sandy Oom's idea about developing the trails on the property that we purchased earlier this year. I would like to see that taken up and see if that's a possibility. Otherwise, thank you very much and have a good night.
Thank you, Peg.
You're welcome.
Let's see. I have Peter. Hi, Peter.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Now we hear you, Peter.
I'm Peter Lucaris. I own a local business in town, and I like to urge the council to make a motion for the pump truck. I believe that the money have been already appropriated. I think the location, it's already chosen. It's in the perfect place in the middle of town. It can bring families together. And I think we should take advantage of the social distancing that everybody's experiencing. And most likely we're gonna be experiencing in the fall, which means an activity, an outdoor activity that can bring all the families together, I think will be beneficial to the town. And I cannot see any better marketing exercise or tool for our town. I agree with that families want to come in town. There is definitely a lot of activity.
Ben, Lindsay needs help.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
There is a lot of activity, and serving families from 20 plus years. I own a daycare preschool in town. Every single family that it comes in town and I enroll, the first thing they're asking is, what else children can do in town besides Maple Grange Road? Thank you for your time. And if the money are there, go ahead. We can all build a very nice activity in town. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter.
Thanks.
Super soldier.
Excuse me, there's people that did not mute
Yeah, I
themselves.
think that might be Mr. Palladini, maybe.
Marcy, why don't you ask those who are not speaking to put themselves on mute?
Yes, I'm gonna do that right now. Okay. I don't see anybody else with their hands up. Mr. Wayne. No, I don't, wait a minute, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm there.
Tom?
Yeah, I am.
Muted.
Wait a minute, Harry, I'm not sure if you're vice president or John is. Is the two vice presidents there or what?
No, John's the VP and I'm the president.
I'm joking.
We work together though, right, John? John makes sure I don't screw up too bad.
Good evening. All right, so I really only had one comment, and after listening to all that, I've got a couple of comments. Number one is I'm probably, the odd egg in the carton because basically I haven't been down to the town park in 15 years. I hate to disappoint everybody, but there must be a heck of a lot going on down there that I'm missing when I go over to Warwick's parks. And number two, as far as the Trump bike thing, I have no idea basically what it is, but there was a comment made, and I have to tell you this in all sincerity, being over 60, seeing somebody on a bicycle or a 60-year-old on a bicycle is not a good sight. And my third comment was basically harking back to what I was pressing you on at the beginning of the year, and that's the slave cemeteries. But before I start that, there was a fourth thing, and it was taxes. And there's discussions about liquor licenses. Right now, your property tax collection rate is around about 95.3 or something like that. Here's a proposition for you. You want to get the taxes paid on time, take the liquor license renewals out of December and put them on June 1st. What that's going to accomplish is this. All those entities that may have liquor licenses will have to have their property taxes paid to get a renewal. And that will get you 6 months of extra property tax payments. That's just a suggestion. I've seen it done before. Number 4 is harking back to the slaves. And I just want to say, I think it's incumbent upon the township to recognize its past so that we can realize where we are and where we're going to. We know we have 3 slave cemeteries. Two of them are identified. We know we have a slave village. And this is the history of Vernon Township. Of course, we did pay out $900,000 10 years ago to settle I believe it was a racial bias suit. And prior to that, you'll talk to the old timers, and they'll tell you that those guys in white sheets were hanging around here in the 40s and the 50s. I think, it's a new age. We're in a new century. We have to acknowledge where we've been. And with that, go forward. And that's the end of my speech. And everybody have a good night.
You too, Tom. Thank you very much.
I do not see any other hands.
Okay, therefore, can I have a motion to close the floor?
Motion.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Seeing none. Let's move on to number 10 on the agenda, and that would be the mayor's report. Mr. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Council President and other council members. I use my report tonight to update you and the public on some of the events that occurred in our township this past weekend. This Saturday, some of our town's residents added their voices to the millions of Americans' voices around our nation who during the past 2 weeks have expressed their feelings and concerns on the issues of how a great country can and how a great country should continue its century-long march towards achieving that more perfect union that's expressed as an objective in the preamble to our nation's Constitution. And as you are no doubt aware, the discussion and the voices have focused on the negative aspects of the issues of race and color that have been in conflict with our nation's Constitution and that have been the source of a great and deadly civil war, plus years of great and destructive civil disturbances in our nation since the country's very beginning. The key thing that I want to ensure that you know, and that the members of the Vernon public know, is that the residents of town who participated in a large gathering related to this issue at the corner of Route 94 and what was Main Street, which temporarily been renamed 2020 Senior Drive. Residents conducted themselves in the way that I have come to expect from the good people of Vernon Township. They conducted themselves in not only a peaceful and orderly manner, but also with class and with positiveness. I am especially pleased and proud of the fact that in Vernon Township, there was not any noticeable or detectable amount of the type of hostile name calling or violent destructive behavior, no blocking of traffic, and none of the other negative behaviors and actions that have unfortunately been a part of some of those events in other towns around our nation. Prior to my wife Reba and I making an appearance at this gathering, I first made a visit to our Vernon Police Department. The purpose of my visit was to let our police officers know in no uncertain terms that during this period, when the negative and unacceptable behavior of some law enforcement officials was reflected negatively on all law enforcement officials, that I was very proud of them as an organization, and that their behavior, not only during the 5+ months that I've been mayor, but also during the almost 40 years that my family and I have lived in Vernon Township, that their behavior as a collective group had earned them my respect and my strong support. During the earlier part of the day, I visited the Municipal Center to thank and provide moral support for the efforts of our town's beautification committee, as they did what they've done for years, and that is to take actions to enhance the appearance of our town by planting an array of beautiful flowers. On this day, they did it around the Municipal Center. This committee serves really a meaningful purpose for our town, and I'm very appreciative of their efforts. In closing, let me express my opinion that this was another weekend when Vernon Township as a collective group showed why the New Jersey Healthcare Quality Institute selected Vernon as only one of 12 New Jersey towns to include on their list of New Jersey healthy towns to watch. Mr. Council President and council members, that is my report tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Excuse me,
Marcy, go ahead.
Council President, I'm sorry. Miss Jessica Palladini signed in tonight as Charles Volker. So she had her hand raised and I didn't realize that it was Miss Palladini because I saw Chuck's name. So can Miss Palladini please speak for I know we closed to public.
I'll make a motion that we reopen to public comment.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Seeing none, please turn the floor to Mrs. Palladini.
Yes. Where is she? Here we go. Okay. Hello, Miss Palladini.
Hi, how are you? Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes,
sorry
we
about the misunderstanding.
That's okay. I couldn't figure out what was going on. I assure you I'm not impersonating Mr. Volker. I don't know how that happened, probably because Mr. Volker created an account for the boards and the HPC now uses Zoom. So I guess it brought me up that way. Sorry, I'll see if there's anything I could do to remedy that. I want to voice my opinions on the bicycle pump track. I am 100% wholeheartedly in support of it. There are a couple of caveats, though, that I'd like to bring up. First of all, when Mr. Dan Kraus came to the Economic Development Advisory Commission meeting last August, and he presented his idea for the pump track, we told him then that it was an excellent one. We also informed him that approximately around 2016, when Sally Rinker was part of the Greenway Committee, she offered to do a free bicycle pump track for the township. She had the donation of dirt, and she had everything set to go for that to happen. And for whatever reason, that didn't happen. So the two caveats are this, though. I don't support the location, which is next to the DPW dump, which of course the State Department of Environmental Protection already spoke with the Township of Vernon, telling them that they had to clean up that dump because there was toxic waste there for years and years and years. So I don't like the notion of putting children next to a dump, for one thing. For another thing, I don't think that's a visible enough place. I'd like to see it in a highly visible place for a number of reasons, for both kids hanging out at night when it's closed and also for safety. Now, Mr. Dan Kraus proposed something wonderful this afternoon to me, and that was the concept of a whole park setting around that bicycle pump track. And for that reason, I always thought that Maple Grange Park was an excellent place. I think Veterans Memorial Park is an excellent place, but I also now think that now that the town bought the Masker Marsh track, that's even a better place to put a bicycle pump track. I'd like to see it be someplace where it's highly visible. I also would like it to be on the agenda for the next meeting for discussion. And I'd like to see all discussion on this bicycle pump track highly transparent. We have something that a lot of residents seem to be supporting, and that's a good thing. But here's the deal. Vernon voters voted in the majority to take $300,000 out of the open space fund for recreational uses. And one of the specific recreational uses that was listed in that referendum that voters approved was bicycle pump track. So I say, take that money first, not all of it. It would not cost $300,000 for a bicycle pump track, but before you do anything with that money, build the bicycle pump track. And please don't say that that money is encumbered or that money is already allocated or anything like that, because we know that it's not. So you can make whatever decision you want. You can change your mind. I think this is a wonderful thing for our town. And I'd like to see a bicycle pump track. I'd like to see it with that open space money as phase one of use for that money. And frankly, I'd like to see that done right away. And I'd like to talk about where to put that, because I think putting it on Black Creek Drive next to the town dump is not a good place. It's not a visible place. Put it someplace where there's a whole park around it, where people can go and sit and watch their children, and it'll be highly visible. And that's all I want to say, except that I just want to reiterate one more time my invitation to Tom McClackery to come to the Historical Society and show us the precise locations of those slave cemeteries backed up by science. And I will immediately work on getting a historical marker for that, because thanks to Mayor Burrell and to some other grant monies we got, we are putting 3 historic markers up this year in Vernon. And I would love for the slave cemetery to be one of them. So once again, Mr. McClackery, come show us where it is. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, can we close the floor to public comment and we'll move on to council comments?
Make a motion.
Motion.
All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Seeing none. Okay, let's go to council comments. And Ms. Murphy, would you please start?
And actually, I'd like to make a comment to both Ms. Palladini and Mr. McClackery. I think at one point when Mr. McClackery mentioned the slave cemeteries and Ms. Palladini said she emailed him, I believe he mentioned at that time that her email went to a defunct email address. So I think that at some point there was a little bit of a confusion between that. Just thought I'd mention it because just from listening to their comments. The pump track, let me start with that. I just like to make a comment that I don't believe anybody on the council that I'm aware of is against the pump track. And I don't think that there's any political reason that, that's holding this up. At the last council meeting, I did suggest, and I had suggested it during the budget process, that monies from the 30% that the voters allocated to be used for a trail or a pump track, those were the items that were in the referendum, that we take money from there as opposed to bonding, because we did put in our, in the budget for capital, for the capital items, $150,000 for the pump track. That I was opposed to, because if money's been allocated for either trail or pump track, we shouldn't be going and borrowing. The other thing is, and also just so everyone's aware, as far as the location, I know that Mr. Kraus had some professionals come and look at the site. He also did speak to the Board of Ed to see if they had any property, because I was a little active in trying to help him find some properties. As far as Maple Grange, if people are concerned about it being visible, there'd have to be a location that's visible, because with everything that's taken up right now in Maple Grange, it would almost appear that it would have to be in the back of the park. So I'm not sure that that would be an ideal location. And as far as over on the Wisteria property, I know originally, Harry, you mentioned something about that being a botanical garden. If at any time the Board of Ed decided to sell their property, that would probably be an ideal location for the community garden, because there is property there that's available. I'm not sure that it would be conducive for the parking for a pump track, but like I said, just wanted to mention that. Ellen Meixner, it's my understanding she's resigned from the beautification. So I just wanted to say that, you know, she was on there with me for 4 years, and I believe she was on now for 6 months. So I just wanted to recognize her, because when I was on the committee with her, I mean, she was always there, always ready to, you know, join in and do whatever we needed to do, whether it was paint signs or plant flowers, or even the day we were out there scraping the median to try to clean things up. So I just thought I'd mention that. Interesting. I hate to bring up paychecks, but could somebody tell me how come Harry Shortway's signature is still on my check? I happen to, since we've had this discussion about checks, I happen to be looking at it the other day, and Harry Shortway's name still appears. Howard, I mean, I know that it can be the mayor, the CFO, the business administrator, and I believe the clerk.
Yeah,
but I'm just wondering,
you know what, I'll actually take a look at that, because I thought that we sent everything over to payroll. We did have everything changed at the bank, and we changed everything on purchasing end. We did send it to payroll, so I will check with ADS on that.
Yeah, well, I just, so everyone knows. I did not cash the check, because once I did see it, as far as I'm concerned, it's not legal. I guess, you know, and I never really looked at the signatures on it. I just happened to notice it. So I will return that one. The last thing that I wanted to bring up is the wastewater feasibility committee. I'm a member of that, you know, as is Harry. We have a couple members from the MUA that are on it. The mayor's on it. Peg DeStassi's on it. And there was a report, Harry created a report that was emailed to us. It's a draft report. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this report was created by Harry Shortway and Mike Fury. And one of the paragraphs, now this is, like I said, it's a draft copy, but I'm going to read one of these paragraphs because I'm not sure if it's a mistake, but if it's not, it's nothing I want to be part of. And what it states is, it says, as the Wastewater Feasibility Committee and the VTMUA commissioners research past operations and maintenance of the township sewer assets, the Wastewater Feasibility Committee discovered possible instances of insubordination, incompetence, and unethical acts leading to vicarious liability issues for the township. The feasibility committee has nothing to do with that. You know, looking at this and this insubordination, incompetence, unethical acts, I'm not sure who this is being referred to, whether it's professionals or whether it's employees. But what is evident to me is that this report, somehow the Wastewater Feasibility Committee and the MUA, it seems that they've morphed into one entity. And according to this report. So the way I see it is, if the MUA is looking to put out a report of what they think, it needs to be a separate report. The Wastewater Feasibility Committee should not be, and I'll use the word, my term, double downing on any issues that the MUA may have. We were looking at some items, and I spoke to Mayor Burrell on April 27th when I actually viewed my concerns, because there was a long period of time when we were not hearing anything. But like I said, it's nothing against, you know, the people that are working on it. But, you know, we have 2 members of the MUA that are on the committee. And if Harry Shortway and Mike Fury are working on this report together, like I said, I don't agree with, as a member of the wastewater feasibility committee, I do not agree with what they've come up with in this report. Because as far as I'm concerned, I'm not getting in the middle of anything, accusations against anybody. And with that, I think that's all I have. Thank you.
Kelly, you want to go next, please?
I have no comment this evening. Thank you.
John?
Yeah, I would just like to thank you to the beautification committee for the front of town hall coming here tonight, the plantings and the DPW, the mulch, everything looks great. And then I have a question for the mayor. When is town hall going to be opened up to the public again?
The answer at this point, John, is I don't exactly know. We want to do it as soon as possible. I was surprised and perhaps a little disappointed that the governor extended his state of emergency another month, because we've been following his. He made a state of emergency and I made mine. I assumed that was going to come to fruition very soon. But I will say this, we are in the process now of putting in certain enhancements for the safety of our workers and for the public. And once we get all of that in, we're going to look at whether or not the state of emergency is over. I'll just probably cancel my state of emergency perhaps and reopen. We brought all of our employees back last Wednesday. They get them reacclimated to being in the building. Well, I guess if you can walk down the hall, well, I'm not so sure, maybe those doors are pulled down, but we've got a lot of the acrylic barriers in already. There's still some more things to do. So I think, John, as soon as possible, because we'd like to get it on. It'll be consistent with the whole idea of reopening our economy and reopening our town.
The only reason I ask is because I have a lot of people that, between going to the different departments, a lot of folks don't do the computer probably as well as I don't. Yeah. And it just, if you come down here, like coming down to get the packet, it's just a steady line of people walking up and pulling on the door. They just want to go in to do their taxes and they're just looking to do business. So that's why I'm asking on behalf of them.
Well, John, thank you very much. It's very observant of you, and I've gotten some of those questions too. Hopefully, though, people haven't had to wait too long, because I'll have to monitor. I hope people aren't saying if they come to the door and they call that they have to wait a long time before someone come out there, because that we don't really want. That's not good service.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just seeing people that were coming to the door, not realizing that the town hall was closed and looking to come in for whatever, do their taxes, get a permit, whatever.
Yeah. We need to change it, and soon.
Okay. That's all I have.
Yeah.
Harry, can I just add something?
Go ahead.
On track. Just listening to everybody about, wanting it to move forward, and then there being an issue with, maybe some of the public about the location. I don't know how long, a study would take, like a phase 1 study would take over there, but I think that location was chosen, and I think the professionals had really taken a look at it and thought it was an ideal situation. Did the DEP come back and say that it was a toxic site? Do you recall?
We had OSHA look at it. It was wood stumps. They had stored concrete there in the grits. And since I discovered it in 2016, we have been removing the concrete and the grits and, of course, the wood stumps. So that is maybe be a violation of DEP regulations, but I wouldn't classify them as toxic. And we've already taken actions to clean it. Plus, it's an 11-acre site, and maybe they're using perhaps 1 or 2 acres at most.
Because I know we came into this when we were dealing with other sites in town that were actually coming back with some toxicity. There were items like the concrete and things like that that were not deemed as you know, a bad site or a polluted site or anything. So that was one of the things. But if that's the case, that site is good to use, not sure how the rest of the council feels, but I would like to see that resolution on the agenda next time so that we can allocate. If we were planning on, if the rest of the council and the mayor, you were planning on $150,000 to the pump track, I say right now, what we should be doing is using money out of that 30%, and we should be passing a resolution to allow them to proceed. I mean, I know, just like I said, with my dealings with Dan Kraus, he came to the council, he did the presentation last year, he's sincere about it. He's put, you know, all of his efforts he could. And he's just been looking for, you know, to get going. I mean, it's June, and I know things were kind of hung up, but he has a plan. He doesn't really need, I mean, he has the professionals, he has the plan. He doesn't really need anyone else or any interference as far as telling him what needs to be done, because I think he's done all of this research. But I would really like to see the resolution on where we take that money that was already allocated by the public and use that, put that towards the pump track. Does anybody, I mean, any other council members agree that are here?
Oh, certainly.
I agree.
I'll put it on the agenda of the next meeting because I think Mark should be here also to vote. And I think there should be a discussion, and the engineer, I believe the engineer looked at it, and that should be made public also on his comments.
No, I agree. That's fine, because I don't think the engineer, but the public should know that all of these steps have already been taken. So it was never anything, and I think that there was a discussion at the last meeting of the additional open space money, and I think that some people may have been a little confused with how many different pots there are of money. So, but yeah, if that could be on the agenda next time, you know, for us to be able to vote on, and if the engineer's report could be available, that would be great. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. John, you're finished?
Yes.
Okay. Just to address Ms. Murphy's comment, Mike Fury did not help me write that report. I've spent hours and hours. There's a lot of the research when I was mayor, and at our meeting tomorrow night, the wastewater feasibility committee, I will address those concerns. I don't have copies of police reports. I can tell you what was reported during my term as mayor. I do wish to thank Ellen Meixner for the great work she did at the beautification committee. I'm sorry to see that she has to move on. Also, Tony Chili has also moved on because of family matters. Tony's put so much energy into the GAC and also the farmers market, which will be held this Saturday, and they will be asking people to follow the 6 feet, and they have all kinds of precautions to take because of the pandemic. Tony did a great job. Ellen's done a great job. I think the beautification continues to do a great job with what they've done with this town. They're absolutely awesome. That being said, have a motion to close.
Motion.
Meeting tomorrow, wastewater?
Yes.
Was
I think
the
the
agenda
email
sent
should have
out?
gone out over the weekend. And I'll check on that tomorrow, Gene.
Yeah, because I have the minutes, but I don't think I received the agenda. I just have the minutes from the 3 meetings.
We'll
Yeah,
see you get everything
5/12.
tomorrow if it didn't go out.
Well, if somebody could send me a copy of it, please.
Yep, we'll take care of it.
Motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Well, thank you, everyone. Have a great night. Appreciate it.
Have a good night.
Good
Thank
night.
you.